That was Dan Ashby there in Moscow. Now for more on the World Cup craze, I'm joined by Mike Bako from New York City. He's sports managing editor at dailynational.com. Mike, thanks for joining us. Quickly, your thoughts on Saturday's games. What stood out for you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, what stood out to me was how Croatia was able to dominate and counterpunch everything that Russia was trying to go back at them with. When you look at what Croatia was able to do from a ball control standpoint, dominating possession for 65 minutes, this is uncharted water for Croatia right now into the semifinals. This is a historic team, not only advancing as far as they have, but becoming one of the few teams to ever win back-to-back extra time penalty kick winning games moving into the semifinals. So right now they are riding this momentum. They are now becoming a very emotional favorite. They're kind of the lucky underdogs that are here in the semifinal with the traditional powerhouses like England, like France, and certainly like Belgium, who have to be looked at as the favorite.
Mike, how was Croatia able to do that? Dan Ashby mentioned the age difference between them and Russia.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of the things that you really point to. When you do have a younger team, you are able to control pace of play. You looked at the number of passes that Croatia had in relation to Russia. They tripled up on the number of passes. Now, obviously, Russia was able to stay with them throughout the course of the game. Extra time, dramatic goals to send it into those penalty kicks. But when you have a younger team, when you have a hungrier team that's able to control the momentum of the game, that's what Croatia did. That's what they're going to try to do against England. England, obviously a traditional powerhouse. Can Croatia ride this momentum? I think that they can, and we may be looking at another Croatia upset, although this one against Russia was not an upset, but we may be looking at a Croatia upset to find themselves in the finals unbelievably.
So we're going into the semifinals Tuesday and Wednesday. What teams do you predict will head to the World Cup?
I think, as I mentioned, I think Croatia is going to ride some of this momentum against England. England is really in uncharted territory here as well. They've gone through an entire generation of soccer fans, the David Beckham generation, if you will, without ever getting this far. You think of England as a team that, you know, continuously in World Cup play has come up on the short end of things. They've been very disappointing. But when you look across at that other draw, France and Belgium, this is almost like a finals game. I think whoever wins from this matchup, I think they have the superior team, not only to Croatia, but also to England. So I think that heavyweight matchup is the real spotlight matchup coming up here in the semis, because I think that team will advance to the finals, and I think that team will be an overwhelming favorite against either England or against Croatia.
So football fever here in the U.S. has lagged behind. We call it soccer, of course. Has this year's championship changed that at all?
You know, I think when you look at what's going on here in the States, you just really have to look at the future. And that's where the U.S. has been pointing to for so many years. Such a disappointment this go around, not even qualifying. Certainly when you look to the future, when you look at people like Christian Pulisic as the face of U.S. soccer moving forward, that's something that the U.S. fans can hang their hat on. But in terms of competing internationally, this was certainly a step backwards for them this year. And quite frankly, when you see the quality of play that's going on right now in the World Cup, the U.S. is certainly a level below, and they're really going to have to raise their game and raise their infrastructure and raise their really international mentality of play going forward if they want to compete with the big boys.
Okay, Mike Bako, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you for joining us. Mike Bako from thedailynational.com.